There are brands that are failing, but then there are brands that are quietly drifting. Today's brand isn't failing. It's admired, it's respected, it's everywhere it's supposed to be. This is exactly why it's worth paying attention to. Welcome to Taste Check. This is a daily show about brands, culture, and taste, and how it's discussed behind closed doors. Not in press releases, not in comment sections. We're not here to dunk on brands, we're here to read signals. Because in luxury designing cultures, signals matter more than slogans. Today's Taste Check is on Rimowa, one of the most respected design-led brands of the last decade. German engineering, functional luxury. A product that tells people you travel correctly without saying a word. Rimowa didn't win by being loud, it won by being precise. But here's a question I want to explore today. What happens when a brand becomes too refined? When everything looks right, sounds right, but still feels a little flat. That's not a product problem, that's a signal problem. So let's take a look at what Rimowa is actually putting out into the world. Not the product, but the signal. Let's run a public signal check. When I talk about signals, this is exactly what I mean. Not what a brand says it stands for, but what it shows people every single day. This is Rimowa's Instagram. At first glance, it's very strong. Clean, minimal, controlled. This is a brand that knows exactly who it's talking to. But the taste check isn't about individual posts, it's about pattern. And the pattern here is that everything lives in the same emotional register. Same pacing, same polish, same distance. There's nothing wrong with any of it. But when every signal is tasteful, the signals stop carrying information. Luxury needs contrast. It needs moments of tension or even of slight discomfort. Those moments, those create gravity. Right now, Rimowa's signals are beautiful. They just need a little, they're just a little too smooth. So the issue isn't the product, it's not the design, it's what the patterns lead to over time. Let's break that down. So here's what's actually happening. When a brand becomes extremely good at being tasteful, it often starts optimizing for approval instead of impact. That's not a creative mistake, it's a strategic one. Over time, signals like that stop creating tension. And without that tension, a brand doesn't pull people toward it. It just sits there looking correct. In luxury, taste isn't about refinement alone. It's about judgment, knowing when to hold back and knowing when to break your own rules. The risk here isn't that Rimowa becomes uncool, it's that it becomes predictable. And predictability is where cultural gravity starts to fade. The good news? This is fixable, but it requires a shift in how the brand uses restraint. Let's talk about that. Here's how I'd approach this. First, I'd reintroduce friction. Not chaos, not noise, but moments that feel slightly uncomfortable for a brand this refined. Dents, scratches, wear. Luxury doesn't mean untouched. It means chosen by the right people. We've all seen these bags in the wild, and not one of them has been perfect. And if you've ever owned one, the first scratch, that first dent, ooh, you just cringe. But we get over it, throw a sticker on top, and pray we get that window seat. Second, I'd reduce output. Not because less is always more, but because restraint only works when it's intentional. Fewer posts, clearer moments. Every signal should answer one question. Why does this matter right now? Third, I'd shift from pure aesthetic to narrative. Not lifestyle for the sake of lifestyle. Context. Who is traveling? Where are they going? What happened when they arrived? Luxury brands don't just show objects, they show decisions. None of this requires changing the product, it requires the brand changing what it prioritizes. That's the difference between staying admired and staying relevant. So, where does this leave Rimowa overall? Let's close this out. So, here's the verdict. Rimowa is still one of the most respected design-led brands in its category. But right now it's optimizing for being correct instead of being compelling. That doesn't lead to collapse. It leads to quiet drift. And drift is dangerous because it's hard to notice, especially when everything still looks good. Great taste isn't about perfection, it's about judgment. Knowing when refinement becomes safety and when restraint needs to be challenged. This was Taste Check. We'll be back.